eye in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can't go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be. Those of you who grew up in America in the 80s and 90s may recognize this little musical nugget from Reading Rainbow, a very, very popular TV show for kids all about books. And today we are covering books on Polaris. So we're doing our own Reading Rainbow, the rainbow of possibilities for accessing books using the Polaris, whether that's via audio, via speech, or via Braille. However you prefer. We're going to cover both blindness sources and mainstream sources as well, so we'll get right into it. I am Jenny Axler. I am your host for today. However, as with all HIMSS webinars, this is definitely a collaborative effort. We have 4 additional people with us today. Of course, as always, we have Mr. Thomas Simpson at the controls, our West Coast Regional Sales Manager.
Hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
We also have our Midwest Regional Sales Manager who will be helping out with the presentation, Mr. Earl Harrison.
Hey, everybody. Hey, I've never heard that song before.
Really?
Really? Yeah. I was a professional musician in the 80s, so I don't remember the 80s. So.
You know, you're dating yourself. No, I'm just
kidding.
I
know. It's okay.
All right, and it wouldn't be a HIMSS webinar without Mr. Mike Tyndall.
Hello, everybody, and I do remember Reading Rainbow. It was right before Sesame Street every day, and I remember it as a kid. I loved Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, he's the same age as me, so of course we did actually grow up with it.
Yes.
And we also have joining us a special guest presenter, Mr. Steward Lawler. Mr. Steward Lawler. He is from the Sight and Sound Irish office. He actually manages that office, and he has been kind enough to allow me to guest present on his webinars. So we kind of wanted to bring him in and let him sort of reciprocate. And plus, we just kind of like having him around. So welcome, Steward.
Thanks, Jenny. Great to be here, and good evening, everybody from Ireland. A bit of a wet evening here this evening, and I've never heard the song Reading Rainbow, and after this session, I'm going to go to Apple Music to sing along with it because I really like it. So thank you, Jenny.
Yes, it's very cute and very cheery. Actually, what's funny is I used to go to the Iowa Braille School for the first 4 years of my education. So I actually came home and my brother and sister were watching this show, and I was like, what the heck is that? I mean, I actually thought the song was weird, and like I wasn't used to watching these daytime TV things like Sesame Street and all of that. So I actually, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is so weird. But then of course, Levar Burton, you know, he just kind of draws you in. So unfortunately, no Levar today. You're stuck with just us. But we are, again, going to show several different reading apps. We're going to start out with Mr. Tyndall. He is actually going to show probably the most popular of all of our options, I think. And he's going to use Go Read to search Bookshare and also then integrate that into our own Daisy player for playback. Are you ready, Mike?
I am. Thank you, Jenny. Is everybody hearing me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. So as usual, I'm on my Zoom app right now, and I'm pressing the letter S to start my screen share. And here we go. There's my screen.
On Zoom. App Manager.
Okay. Thomas, are you seeing my screen there?
Looking good, Mike.
Okay.
File Manager, F.
So I'm sitting at File Manager right now, and I have downloaded on my Polaris an app that you can download from the Google Play Store. If you need help doing that, feel free to browse webinars. We have done it several times where we show you how to install apps. And you're going to download an app from the Play Store called Go Read. And Bookshare is who produced the app. So you'll download the book share app called Go Read. What we're going to use the Go Read app for is simply to download the book. Now, if you choose, you can play books using Go Read. You can do audio, and you can do different things to play the book. But what I really like about Daisy Books is that I'm able to then use our own Daisy player to read those books via audio or Braille, and I can navigate those books depending on how they're marked up, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But we do have a lot to cover today, so I am going to go kind of fast, so just bear with me and ride along on this rainbow journey. I'm going to press the letter A for all apps.
Apple Music.
I'm going to press G for Go Read.
Gmail. Go Read.
And I'm going to press Enter. I typed G twice there.
Go Read Quick Start. Bookshare.
And I'm now going to tab.
Go Read Quick Start.
I'm now going to tab. I'm in a Quick Start book, which is, you may be in a book when you come in here.
Button open drawer menu, enter key to select. Button at bookmark here, enter key to select. Button open drawer menu, enter key to select.
I'm going to go to Open Drawer.
Menu. Stop share. List navigation drawer. List my books, enter key to list search bookshare, enter key to select.
Search Bookshare. Now I could have typed an S to get there, but I kind of like tabbing because I want you guys to actually see what I'm doing, and that's the easiest way. Just tab through a program until you learn it. I'm going to press Enter on Search Bookshare.
Button open drawer menu, enter key to select.
I'm going to do a title search.
Button search, enter key to select. Button enter key to select. List title search, enter key to select.
And I'm going to press Enter on that.
Enter title.
And I see on my Braille display Enter title, and so I'm going to press Enter again because I need to see a cursor. So I now see my cursor, and I'm going to do a search.
H. Greater than sign.
Oops.
Greater than sign. Contracted Braille. Greater than sign. Great H. H-A-R-R-Y. Harry. P-O-T-T-E-R.
And I'm going to press Enter.
Button OK, press the Enter key to run. Button cancel, press the Enter key to run. Stop share. Button enter. Search by book title. Enter book title to be searched. Edit box disabled. Enter title. For example, Moby Dick or Potter. Button OK, press the Enter key to run.
I pressed
Color,
Enter.
Search list.
I pressed Enter on the OK button. There's a lot of different Harry Potter books here, but I'm just going to quickly tab through. Some of them are actually Spanish titles that show up first, but I'm going to tab until I find Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
List Harry Potter. List Harry Potter. List Harry Potter. List Harry Potter while List Harry Potter while on Commodus. List Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. List Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter. Number sign 1. By J.K. Rowling. Enter key to select.
So we see there that's the first book in the series. I'm going to press Enter on this.
Fetching book details. Please wait. Author S. J.K. Rowling.
Now if I tab through here, I'm just going to quickly do it.
Button download. Text only. Press the Enter key to run.
So I could press Enter right there and download the book, but we're going to come back to that. I'm going to press Tab.
ISBN 9 trillion. Language English. Category Literature and Fiction. Date dated November 14th, 2015. Publisher Scholastic. Copyright 1990. Synopsis: Harry Potter has no idea how famous he is. That's because he's being raised by his miserable aunt and uncle who are terrified Harry will learn that he's really a wizard, just as his parents were. But everything changes when Harry is summoned to attend an infamous school for wizards.
And on and on. I'm going to type the letter D now because I know I saw download earlier.
Button download. Text only. Press the Enter key to run. Download started. Book button disable downloading book. Press the Enter key to run.
So the book is now
downloaded. Read book.
The book is now downloaded, and I hear Read Book. So I could press Enter and read in audio with Go Read. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to do a Z chord to go out of Go Read and close it.
Go Read. All apps. Task name Zoom.
All right, folks. Sorry for the inconvenience. It looks like Mike accidentally dropped off his Zoom instead of closing out of Go Read, and continuing is Daisy. One person wrote, as a TVI here, to learn different things for our students, the screen sharing versus just audio is extremely helpful. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate the comments. While we're waiting for Mike to get back, just to let everybody know, if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the Q&A box, or go ahead and wait until we're done, and we're gonna take questions at the end, and you could go ahead and raise your hand.
So she mentioned screen sharing. We could, can I take a second and explain?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he just screen shared on Zoom, which is really easy to do. And if you're able to walk your students through that, that's really great. If you are dealing with students, though, one thing that you might want to consider is actually using Windows Connect, which Steward is actually going to use to deal with this. And the reason I suggest that is that if you have a young student and you need the parent needs to help, they can actually do this on a PC. And basically, you just and maybe it's not easier, I don't know. But if the parent needs to set up Zoom and all that, they can go to Android system settings and go to display and cast screen. And basically, if they use Windows Connect on the computer, they should be able to see the PC and connect immediately. Then if the parent needs to actually open up Zoom and do the login and stuff, they can, because they're able to actually see the screen and they have a little bit of control as well. And they can actually get the student logged in. It also works if the parent logs in on the PC and then with Zoom and then uses Windows Connect that way. So I do actually, since you mentioned that, I'm so sorry, we're just waiting for Mike to return and he's still not here. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that it is another way to deal with it. And as a TVI, you might want to consider that if you have really young students, they can actually deal with that via the PC.
Thanks, Jenny. While we're waiting for Mike, Stewart, do you want to go ahead? Because you're up next with Audible. And we'll wait for Mike to get back and then let him finish after you're done.
Okay, no problem. Thanks very much. And thanks for it's great to be here with everybody. So yeah, just to add to what Jenny said about screen sharing, Windows Connect, for me, I suppose the reason I use it for scenarios like this is it also shares the speech. So hopefully when we do this in just a sec, you'll be able to hear my my Polaris pretty quickly. So let me just do my screen share and just click on my audio here to make sure that's ticked. Okay, so hopefully now you can see my
word processor
and hear my Polaris.
Looking good.
So Audible is, of course, well known by many, many people. And the great thing about Audible, because I use it a lot on my iPhone, but I also use it on my Polaris, it syncs your reading position in the cloud. So if you maybe go to the Polaris and do a bit of reading and then go back to your phone, it automatically picks up where you left off. So I'm at my file manager at the moment.
File manager.
Let's go to all apps.
Apple Music.
And actually we're really lucky because we're looking at the letter A, and Audible is one of the first options here.
Audible.
So we'll press enter on Audible. Now I've already signed into my Audible user account. Obviously the first time you open Audible, you would be prompted to sign in with your Amazon login details. And because I've already been listening to a book, Audible will open in a second and we'll actually, well, we can explore the screen in just a moment. So let's open Audible first. And
button, open left navigation panel, enter key to select.
Open left navigation panel. We will explore that in a moment, but I'm going to shift and tab by either pressing space with B or space and F3, whichever you prefer.
Jump forward 30 seconds, enter key to select.
And it's jumped me right down to the end of the screen, and I'm in the play area or my, let's say, media area of my book. So if I press shift and tab once more,
play button, enter key to select.
And at this point, you'd probably want to switch off your speech with backspace and F2.
Voice off.
And if we press enter on play, you'll actually hear the book that I was listening to, which is a book called Just My Luck. So just to give you a really quick sample.
New relationship, or Fling, or whatever it is.
And I pressed enter again on the pause button. There's buttons here as well for rewind 30 seconds. So it's a very easy to navigate interface.
Voice on.
Now I'm going to turn on my voice again, and I'm going to go to this navigation menu.
Jump forward 30 seconds, enter key to set button, open left navigation panel, enter key to
Here's
select.
the one we want, this left navigation panel, which essentially is our Audible main menu. So let's press enter here. And while we wait for the Polaris to do its thing.
Hi, Steward, enter key to select.
Hi, Stewart. Brilliant.
List home, enter key to select.
So here's my main navigation area.
List library, enter key to select.
So home, library, home, I suppose, is where I can listen to, it'll list the most recent titles that I have downloaded and the most recent title that I've been listening to. It gives a couple of recommendations based on things that I might have bought previously. This is my library, of course, where I can see everything that I've bought already. And I can also download titles to my Polaris if they're not already downloaded.
List news, enter key to select. List stats, enter key to
Get
select.
some stats.
List store, collapse the store menu, enter key to select.
This is where we want to be, the store. And it says collapse the store menu. That means the store menu is already expanded. So the next time I tab, I'm sorry, I should have said I'm pressing tab to move through this. I could have also done first letter navigation because I know Jenny's a big fan of first letter navigation, but I always forget about that. So I'll tab again.
List browse, enter key to select.
And we'll go into browse. So press enter here. And
Home, button, open left navigation panel, enter key, browse.
so I'm in browse and
Button 9 credits, enter key to select.
that's my credits, so I know how much I have
Button
left.
search, enter key to select.
And I'm in search. So I actually want to search for a book. I could browse, I could go into the categories here, but I'm conscious of everyone's time and I'm conscious that Mike needs to come back as well and finish his piece. So let's do this quickly. So I'll press enter on search.
Search.
And I'm going to
Button cancel, press the enter key to search.
press enter on search. And
Button navigate, edit box button
there's no
cancel,
box,
press the
okay.
edit box disabled, search, press
the edit
enter
box.
to
So
enter
here's
or
my
edit
cursor,
text.
and I'm actually looking for a book that I read a synopsis for earlier on that I actually want to buy called The Catch. So let's just type this in and see what happens.
The
And I'm going to press enter. Just make sure it speaks to
Catch.
the catch. It did. So we press enter here. And now I'm going to tab with space with .4 and 5 or F3 if you prefer. To
button
get through
list library 0,
my
enter
results.
list store results. The Catch is in store by TM Logan 280
Not actually
button
the one that I
23
want.
enter key to select. Catch 22 is in store by button 7 enter key to select. Catch and Kill is in store button 38 enter key. Contagious is in store by button 1 enter key to How to Flirt with Men is in store by
Okay,
Greg.
the book that I wanted has
button
not come up
38
in
enter.
my first 4 search results, so I'm not going to keep going. But what I could do is press enter on the book. And of course, because this is an Android platform, you can buy the book from the app. You don't have to do as you do on iOS, where you would buy using your browser and then sign into the app to download. So you can do the entire purchase process here from the app. You can purchase the book and then you can download. What else to say about Audible? Yeah, I suppose the search is very easy and browsing by category is also extremely easy. The app is extremely easy to use, very accessible. And when you browse through your library, you can search by genre or recently added or alphabetics. There's a whole load of ways you can manipulate your library search if you wish to do so. I think that's all I want to say about Audible for the moment. Jenny, unless there's anything else anyone wants to ask at this time.
One thing I do want to mention with several of these applications, and this is going to include Audible, if you use the Go Read app natively, also if you use Voicedream Reader or Dolphin Easy Reader, if you place your media keys in app mode, you can actually control these applications using your media keys. Now the application the application has to use the general Android media protocol for playback, which means that it could be controlled by a Bluetooth headset, etc. So the way that you can do that is that you press and hold to play and pause, you press and hold the back key to go back, and press and hold forward key to go back, or to go forward. So normally you just press these keys. So if you press and hold them for a second, then they will actually control the Android media function. So that's also, I'm all about shortcuts. So.
Absolutely, and I'm a bit old school. I never take my hands off the Braille keyboard, but I do agree with you. That can be extremely useful for people.
So I think Mike is back now. So Mike, you were done with Go Read. Would you like to actually go into our Daisy player and show that part of your presentation? Are you good?
I'll be happy to. I've already rehearsed it once since the keynote started, so sure.
Stop share all button.
Thomas, are you seeing my screen?
Not yet.
Start share. Share, button, enter key to select. Start my video, enter key to select. Share, button, enter key to select. Button, photo, enter key to select. Button, screen, enter key to select. Zoom.
There we go. All right.
File manager, F.
So, as I said earlier that none of you heard, I am now going to go into M for media.
Media player, M.
And D for Daisy.
Open Daisy dialog. Harry, Potter, the.
Now, when you download the Go Read app, a folder is created for you automatically on your flash disk called Books. And any books that you download using the Go Read app are going to automatically appear in your Books folder. So just to quickly show you that,
Flash disk 1/1 list item.
I press backspace to get to my flash disk, and I will press enter here.
Books folder 1/11 list item.
And there's my Books folder. So I'm going to press enter on Books.
Harry, Potter,
And there's the book I downloaded, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. To open the book, I have to press the space bar before I select the book to open it, because the space bar selects the book, and probably somebody will forget to press space before they open their book, and they're going to call tech support and say, my book won't open. So I'm telling you that before you open a book, you find the book.
Can you explain why?
Yes. What happens is that when you get to your book, the book is not physically selected. So you have to press the space bar, and that will select the book.
Select
No,
Harry,
that's...
Potter, and.
So that's not exactly it.
Okay.
So the reason, well, you're right, but there's still a reason. Normally you can press enter to open anything, right? But it doesn't work for Daisy Books because they are contained within a folder. It's not a specific file, as is the case with most files or most things that you open. So
right.
If you press enter, you're actually going to enter the files in a book. So you have to press space to select it. He is correct, but the reason is because you have to select the entire folder and let it know, I want you to find all the files in this folder and organize them and open them as a Daisy package. That's the reason.
Right, so you're selecting the folder that contains all the files. So I've now done that, and I will press enter on it.
Flash disk 1/1 Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. 70% sign. 100% sign. Boom. They knocked a pause.
And my book is now open. So as Jenny was mentioning a second ago,
Media mode.
Normally my right switch is set to medium mode, so I'm going to slide it to the left to the middle position,
Daisy mode,
which is Daisy mode. So if we look at the buttons on the front of the Polaris, they go rewind, record, stop, which has a dot on it, play, pause, and forward. If you do H chord for help, you can find a list of commands that can show you how to navigate through a book. But the easiest way to do it is to press the record button, and that will change your element of movement. Now, I also want to say that not every book is marked up the same way, which means, in layman's terms, heading level 1 in one book may move you to a different position than heading level 1 would move you in a different book. And so you kind of want to just play around with your different levels and kind of see what they do for you. If I press my record button.
Page. Phrase. 5 phrases. Heading. Beginning or end of book. Level 1.
Level 1, in this case, I know, moves me by chapter. So if I press the fast forward button.
Chapter 5 diagonally.
Or
Pause.
the left rewind button.
Chapter 4 the keeper of. Chapter 3 the letter. Chapter 2 the vanishing. Pause.
So that is the easiest way that I can navigate through my book. And again, if we do H chord, just to quickly show you.
Select previous heading. Play pause when it is pause state. Space or play pause button in the front panel list item. Move backward by selected heading level. Move forward by selected heading level. .6 list item.
So you can see there's a whole bunch of commands there that we can get if we look in help. So I'm going to do Z chord to close help.
Help closed. Pause button.
Z chord to close the Daisy player.
Exit Daisy player. Are you sure? Yes prompt button. Pause Daisy player. D.
It paused my book, and so if I go back in, I should be at the same place where I left off. And I am now going to go back into Zoom.
Task name, Zoom. Start my video, enter key to select. Stop share.
And we're going to
enter key
stop my screen share, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jenny.
Current view is active speak.
All right. Next, I think we have Earl, who is going to show us a bit with the Bard mobile application. Bard has very nicely made applications for iOS and for Android, and these do actually work on the Polaris as well. So I will. Are you ready, Mr. Earl?
I'm ready. I just had to turn the Mac off. Oh, I'm as ready as I can be. So I know that I talked to Jenny a few minutes ago before the webinar started, and explained that since I am running a beta version of the software, I did discover something in the Bard app that probably people using the shipping version aren't having. It has to do with conducting a search. So what I did is I actually uninstalled the version that I had found on APK Pure, and I called our tech support guys who sent me Jenny's instructions, and of course they worked flawlessly. Got me into the app, but because there are some changes that have been made on the Bard website as of late, and some changes in the beta version that we're running, I'm thinking there's a combination of things that are going on that they're going to aren't going to allow me to actually do a search, because what's happening right now as well, it's actually hanging my Polaris. It's because it's probably because I'm using the beta version, so it's going to be up to developers to figure out what's going on there, and they always do it.
We will fix it next week. We promise. We will not release it that way.
But one of the things I get asked all the time is when is him's going to come up with use a later Android operating system. Of course, with the Polaris, the answer is not likely anytime soon. That's because what we've been busy doing is coming up with bolstering the functionality of the device. And so while folks over there at NLS have marched ahead and are no longer developing for Lollipop, there is an APK version of it, and anybody who wants to get it can get it just by sending an email to support@hims-inc.com and download it, and it works. It's a piece of cake. So that's what I did. I downloaded it, and now I'm sitting actually I got to share my screen, don't I? Alrighty.
Closed. Open question and answer.
All right.
Share screen button.
Share screen.
Select a window or an application that you want to share. Basic tab check selected.
So.
Sharing list box. Click arrow key to net. Share computer zone check. Optimize screen sharing. Optimize screen share. Basic tab check selected. You have started screen share. Reading controls.
All right. So.
Braille sense C. X combine. Zoom. Jaws home. Reading Braille sense Polaris.
All right.
Braille sense Polaris.
Ask the control tower. Do we have visual?
We have visual.
All right. So I'm in the main menu, and I see File Manager. I'm just going to, of course, like with all Android apps, everything lives in the All
Audio Lab
folders, all apps folder. And of course, first letter navigation being supported throughout the entire
Bard Mobile.
system. The first time I press the letter B, I come up with Bard Mobile. Now,
Loading.
loading in the generic Google voice, which I kind of actually like. So it's loading the application, and when I reinstalled Bard Mobile, I noticed that it lost all of my my wish list and my now reading and all that stuff. But what I was really happy to find out about is that I was still able to get to the books that I had previously downloaded and download them again. So I hear it's still loading here. Oh, let me see what we got going on here.
Voice off.
Voice is on.
Voice on. Star Wars.
Okay, so Star Wars is currently something that I actually did a search for before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back out.
File manager.
I thought that I'd exited
Close
out
all
of
apps.
there, and I'm
File
closing
manager.
all apps just so I can get a fresh start. Go back into
Audio Lab.
all Bard
Bard
Mobile.
Mobile.
Loading.
Oh, maybe I downloaded the book and then it was just in the place in the book.
It might be loaded. It might just not be refreshing your Braille display.
Well, I'm pressing tab.
Or I could be off my rocker completely.
I loaded you're on the Get Books tab, and you have Browse Wish List and some other options, but
Okay, so
it's not
what I've
changing
seen on the Braille
focus.
display is just Bard Mobile, and I have a theory. I have a theory that because I'm using the rapid data transfer cable to show my video, to show the screen, I think we have a conflict with resources. Huh. Because
Can you use first
I
letter
did
nav?
not have the problem prior to doing this. So I'm going to,
USB data mode off. Star Wars.
and I did just disconnect the cable just to test my theory here. And I get a bunch of bleeps and blops. And I think the beta combination with live webinar bug has just bit me. But in the shipping version of the Polaris, I'll have to test this on the shipping version. I'm really sure that it works. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you is that even though I had to do a clean install, and it lost all things that were on my wish list and all the things that were, previously, downloaded on the device itself, because I basically cleared it all off by reinstalling. There is something called previous downloads. It's actually an option where you go and you press enter on that, and everything that you've downloaded, either on the Polaris or using other devices, so that's the beauty of it. If you've downloaded it on an iOS device, some other Android device, what have you, it's all listed right there, and you can just press enter on it and download it again. So you haven't lost it, and you don't have to go searching for it again. It's in your library. The other thing that I want to mention is because, of course, people use more than one method of doing it. I mean, you might get the idea while you're sitting on a bus or something that you want to, you remember the title of a book and you go searching for it and you find it on your iPhone. Well, you can certainly download it onto your iPhone, and then later on go to that previous downloads area, and there it is. You can just download it again onto the Polaris. So the other thing that I was going to show you, that I was on the phone working with somebody from NLS yesterday, and we identified some problems that we didn't know who to blame, us or them, with the downloading of Braille books, Brf files. So that was a problem. She had her Polaris, I had my Polaris. We were able to do it, but it wasn't as streamlined as it had been previously. So we're going to get back to that. But the thing I thought of is that, if, again, we all use multiple devices, or most of us do. And if you download the Bard Express app to your, onto your Windows computer, and you want to go get a book, you can actually specify the directory that where you want to store those BRF books. So you can, cable up, basically, plug the cable that came with the Polaris into the Polaris, and the other end into the PC. And then basically you can either download to the default folder and then just copy and paste over to the Polaris. And there you are. You just unplug it and go, and you've got your reading material with you. So that's actually another great way, because Bard Express is just so quick and easy, fast to use. And then once you get it on and download it onto your computer, again, you can either select the directory, go have it installed, store it directly to the Polaris on download. You would have to specify that directly, or you could accept the default directory, just do a copy and paste between the computer and the Polaris. And my Polaris has blown up, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, Jenny. It was working, of course,
Okay.
before the presentation. This always happens.
Sure. Yeah, it does. And so a couple things I want to mention. Yeah, this is going really well. I had this fear a little bit. So two things happened. We did actually schedule this this webinar several weeks ago, and Bard did actually just update everything last Friday. So unfortunately, that happened between the time that we scheduled this, and our developer actually has been out this week, has been out of the office, so he hasn't been able to make the updates as he usually would. But generally, he can do that really fast. And so the fortunate thing is that we are still in beta. We haven't released. So I can almost guarantee that he will have all of this fixed, in a couple of days, probably Monday or Tuesday. It's just unfortunate it didn't happen before this webinar. But as I said, fortunately, we are still in beta, so we don't have to do a new release to deal with it. We'll have it out in this next one. The other thing is that, yes, we are running beta software, and we are experiencing some issues when we do screen share. And so we are actually all running logs right now to catch this problem. So it's kind of one of these weird, fortunate, unfortunate thing. It's unfortunate for you that Earl's unit locked up, but it's fortunate for us because we actually can catch it. And unfortunately, it doesn't really happen unless we are doing something like this, exactly like this. So that's also something that we need to fix. So thank you, Earl. You've actually just gotten it documented for us. So, he has benefited us, even though it was unfortunate for you. So I believe next
welcome. I'm glad I could help.
Well, hey, there's got to be a bright side. So next, it looks like is me, and I am going to present a little bit on Kindle and Audible. So just one second. Oh, I need to stop Earl's screen share. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, now you should have my file manager, Thomas, do you? Or my main menu?
Yep.
Okay, oh, and we do need voice on. That would help.
Voice on. Word processor, W.
Okay, so we are going to go to All Apps.
11,000 quotes, saying status.
And I have many apps under the letter A. We're gonna go to Kindle.
A capital TT, Adam T, Amazon App Store, Amazon Kindle.
Actually, I have a lot of Amazon apps. My sister keeps telling me I should buy stock. I order a lot from Amazon. There's always a stack of boxes when I come
The
home.
Homecoming, Ann Bennett.
Okay, now we have Amazon Kindle loaded, and it's placed me in my library. So there are, of course, several things that I can do. I can search, or I can read a book. And this is a little bit strange and a little bit difficult to figure out, but it is actually doable. So I really wanted to show this app because I I've said this several times, I'm actually not certain even why what I figured out works both in Kindle and in Google Books. And I don't know what I did to figure this out, and it doesn't make any sense according to our screen reader, but it works, so we're gonna go with it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna press enter on this book. Oh, wait a second.
The Homecoming, Bennett, and Kindle Unlimited. Book not downloaded. Enter key to select. Button download. Press the enter
I
key
do
to
need
run.
to download it first, but that shouldn't take much time, so we will do that.
Search Kindle. Enter key to select.
Okay.
Notifications. The Homecoming, Bennett, and Kindle Unlimited. New. Book downloaded. Enter key to select.
And now it's downloaded, so I'm going to press enter to open it.
The home. Kayson's arms slip around her shoulders and pull her towards him. She doesn't resist, and as they walk, she moves closer to the reassuring warmth of his.
Okay, so it started to read, and it actually synced my last position, actually. I was reading this book on another device, and it automatically, when it downloaded, it actually synced my position, so it does that across devices. So you can read with speech. The one weird problem that I have with Kindle is that the continuous read button doesn't work. The interesting thing is that it does not work on the competitor's device either. And we don't know why, and Amazon isn't sure because they don't think that it's any kind of weird control. They think that it should, but it doesn't. However, you can actually read. So if you're wanting to read in Braille, it's no problem at all. You can turn pages, and you can even read with speech if you turn pages. So the way that you turn pages, and this is the part that I'm not exactly sure why it works, but does, is by using space 3 and space 6. And you can hear it beep every time I turn a page. Now, what didn't happen is that it didn't refresh. You can do that.
Start continue. They walk on, and at last YAI's old wooden house comes into view on the far edge of the settlement.
So you can do that by pressing F3 twice. So again, this might seem a bit cumbersome, but you'll get used to it. So it's really just a couple of keystrokes really fast. So I'm gonna do this.
I knew you would come back one day, my dear. It was only a matter of time. It is understandable why this can't be true, Cyrenaica murmurs.
So it actually didn't take me long at all. Once you get used to doing it, it's very fast. You press space 6, then F3 twice. Space 6, F3 twice. And again, if you're reading in Braille, you'll have no problem. It is very automatic. However, I will say that if you do like to read with speech, what you may choose to do is to actually search for a book.
Amazon, search Kindle, enter key to select.
And instead of, so you may try, excuse me, because you can type in the Braille keyboard and, you know, it's easier to navigate. I think you can use first letter nav. So I like to be able to search for a book on Kindle and purchase it, and then I might read it somewhere else later. But I think that's fine. I actually think that what's great about having different devices is that you use them for what they work best for. And so it really depends on how you want to use Kindle. It is very usable. I actually don't mind if I'm reading in Braille, turning pages like that. That's not an issue for me. But if you do want to read with speech, you might choose to, like I said, purchase it here and then read it somewhere else. And it's entirely up to you, whatever works. So let's do a search. So I'm actually in the search area. I'm going to press enter.
Edit box disabled. Search Kindle. Press enter to enter or edit text.
And I'm going to search for, now this again is a little bit strange and I'll show you in a second.
List results from Kindle.
So I just typed a couple of letters and it jumped me to the results because it tries to automatically fill in what you
List
want.
results from Kindle.
I'm going to
Button, clear search text, enter key to edit box disabled loop, press enter to enter or edit text.
I'm going to go back and actually finish my query because I don't want to deal with all the things that it might bring me.
Luke.
Okay.
Lucinda.
And I search for Lucinda Riley. Oh, excuse me.
Button, clear search text, enter key, list results from Kindle. Button, see more, enter key to select. The Sun Sister, a novel. The Seven Sisters, Book 6. Lucinda Riley, 135, enter key to select.
So I just pressed space F3 to get to my results. And the first one is The Sun Sister, which is actually the newest in a series that I'm reading. And I highly recommend this to anyone who likes historical fiction or just likes to be taken to times and places that you have not experienced. These are incredibly fabulous books. And they're really long too, so if you need something to kill a lot of time. like on a really long plane trip. They're
Enter
good for
key
that.
to select.
Okay, so I just pressed
Button navigate up. Enter key to select.
I just pressed enter on this book. And if I want to purchase
The
it,
Sun Sister, a novel. The Sevens, Atria books. Drugs and alcohol.
it's actually not about drugs and alcohol. It's about someone struggling with drugs and alcohol. So it was starting to read a little bit of it. I'm going to press the letter B.
Buy now for 14.99. Enter key to select.
And I'm going to tab
Button
again.
buy now for 14.9. Add Audible narration to your purchase for free. Button buy now for 14.99. Press the enter key to run.
And again, I'm just tabbing and shift tabbing through the options. So if I wanted to purchase this, I could actually press enter. So just as with Audible, you can purchase it directly on the Polaris. I'm actually not going to do that because I've already purchased it through a different platform and I've already read it and it's really good. So I'm going to go, but it is one of the latest, most popular books out right now. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this.
Find books. Edit Amazon Kindle.
Okay, so I'm actually going to quickly go into Google Books, and I'm going to tell you right now that I prefer Amazon Kindle.
Amazon Kindle.
You can use Google Books the same way, but Google Books is a little bit kludgier. So again, you can do this, and it may or may not be what you prefer, but it is doable.
Gmail.
Okay,
Go
we're going to
read.
go.
Google Go. Google Now Launch. Google Play Books.
Okay, Google Play Books. We're just waiting for it to load.
Edit box disabled. Search playbooks. Press enter to enter or edit text.
Okay, and again, I could do a search. I'm
Signed
not
in
going
as
to.
Jennifer Axler Jack. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. 100 downloaded. 5 read. Enter key to select.
Okay, so Google actually lets you download classic books. If you go to the library section, you can find all kinds of classic books that are available for free for you to read. And I downloaded Treasure Island, so it's showing me in my list, and I'm going to press enter.
Played books. Chapter I. Pinch close to exit full screen view and enter scheme view to page through the book. Use 2 fingers to drag left or right. Checkbox not check bookmark. Press the checkbox not check bookmark. Page content. My father told him no, very little company, the more was the pity. Well, then, said he, this is the birth for me. Hear you, maybe. He cried to the man who trundled the barrow. Bring up a next page. Checkbox not check bookmark. Press the enter key to page content. Such was present, for me, at least. There was no secret about the matter, for I was, in a way, a sharer in his alarms. He had taken me aside one day. Okay, so let me explain what I did. I wasn't explaining it as I was going because I didn't want to interrupt the speech. So I did very much the same thing that I did with Kindle. I pressed, I got into the page content and then I pressed space 6 to turn the page. And then once again, I had to use F3 a couple times to get back to the page content. So the same thing does work in Google Books. As I said, you do have classic books available to you. So that again, may be something that you may want to do. You are able to read this content in Braille in both Kindle and Google Books as well. So that it's just another option for accessing books. And if for some reason you're not able to find what you're looking for on one of the accessible sites, this is just another option for you. So I'm actually going to go ahead and stop my screen share. That's really all I wanted to show you with this. And we are going to go over to Thomas, who's going to show Dolphin Easy Reader. Actually, Thomas, if you want to, you can just go ahead and start share and stop mine. That'll also work.
Let's go ahead and do that. All right, thank you very much, Jenny. I am going to talk about Dolphin Easy Reader. Before I jump into it, I want to let you know Dolphin Easy Reader is an application that can be downloaded on iOS or Android devices. And it's been designed for a wide range of people. It's for, it obviously works with our Braille displays and Braille note takers, but it's also developed for people who have low vision or dyslexia or other reading issues. And so there's a few things in the Dolphin Easy Reader application that are not necessarily applicable for use on a Braille device. And so when I go through this, I'm going to highlight the things that are applicable for use on the Polaris. So I'm going to start by turning on my voice.
Voice on. File Manager, F.
And Jenny, if you want to let me know if it's too loud or too quiet, go ahead and do that. But I'm on File Manager.
I think you're good.
Okay, great. I'm going to open all apps by pressing the letter A.
Calendar.
And I can get to the Dolphin Easy Reader application by pressing the letter E.
Easy Reader.
It happens to be the first in the list with the letter E, or the only in the list with the letter E. I'm just going to press enter.
Loading. My books. Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow, Jerome K. Jerome.
Okay, so I've already had the Dolphin Easy Reader application on my Polaris. When you first start off, it is going to ask for you to sign up with an account. And there is a little bit of confusion if you're not familiar with the Dolphin Easy Reader application. So you can sign up with a Dolphin account if you already have one. If you don't, you can create one. You can also sign up with a Google account, and there's a couple other different options. Now, this type of account is different than your accounts that are associated with the different libraries. This account, what it allows you to do is read on one device and then switch over to another device, and it's going to sync your positions and everything else like that. So think of it as like Jenny was showing, the Audible account. When you switch from device to device, it has the same sort of capabilities. So when you do sign in with the Dolphin Easy Reader, you do sign in with an account. It is not the same as the library accounts. So I do have a book already downloaded. It's Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow by Jerome K. Jerome. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to download another book. So I'm going to jump to the top by pressing space in 1, 2, 3.
Button side menu, enter key to select.
And that's going to take me to my side menu. From here, I'll press enter.
My books button, enter key to select.
Now I'm in the menu system, and it starts off with my books. If I continue down the list, I can get to my libraries. There's a section for newspapers, clipboard text. There's about and help, and there's also a section for my Dolphin account. I can navigate down. I'm going to press F3.
Manage libraries button, enter key to select.
And that takes me to the next section. If I press F3 again,
Bookshare button, enter key to select.
It takes me down to the different libraries that I have on my device. One of the great things about Dolphin, it does have a wide variety of different libraries that you can access. I don't have access to a lot of these libraries, but I do find EPUB books and Project Gutenberg quite handy. So I'm going to go to Project Gutenberg, and I can continue to press F3, but the Dolphin app supports first letter navigation, so I'm going to press the letter P.
Project Gutenberg button, enter key to select.
And now I can press enter.
Project button side menu, enter key to select.
So now that I'm in the Project Gutenberg section of the Dolphin app, from here I can do a search query, or I could choose different languages. So to navigate, just like with all Android apps, I recommend starting off with F3 to tab.
Project Gutenberg.
I'll press it again.
Edit box, disable searching, all press enter to enter or edit text.
Okay, so this is the area that we can search for a book. So if I press enter here, then it will allow me to search for a book. If I continue to press F3,
English, enter key to select.
I have the option to choose English,
Swedish, enter key to select.
Swedish, and so on. For us, I'm going to focus on English, so I could press space with F3.
English, enter key to select.
And if I were to press enter here, it's going to open up another page, and it's going to give me the option to search for books with only results for English.
Project Gutenberg button side menu, enter key to select.
Now, when it loaded this time, on this page, I have a search box, and because I already selected a category of English, it loaded up several different books that they recommend, presumably some of the more popular ones. So I can navigate through these popular books by pressing F3.
Project Gutenberg. Edit box, disable search in English, press enter to it. Hymns and hymn writers of Denmark, Auber. Book information, enter key to select.
If I click on book information, it's going to give me the title and some additional information about the book. I'm going to press enter real quick.
Loading. Book button, navigate up, enter key to select.
I can press F3.
Book information. Image book cover. Hymns and hymn writers of Denmark. Auber, JC, Jens Christian.
And if I press F3 one more time, it'll take me to a download button.
Download button, enter key to select.
Now, let's say I wanted to download this book. I simply press enter.
Download in button, navigate up, enter key to select. Loading, book information.
All right, so it said loading and then it said book information. That's how I know the book is downloaded. And it took me back to the navigate up button. from here, I could press enter. I could also press space with E to go back a page.
Project, book information, enter key to select.
If I wanted to go back a page, I could go to the navigate up button, or I could press space E again.
Project, button side menu, enter key to select.
And I could continue to do this until I get back to the page I want. Instead, I'm actually going to press enter on this side menu button.
My books button, enter key to select.
And it takes me directly to my books. I'll press enter here.
My books, hymns and hymn writers of Denmark, Author, J.C. Jens Christian, Eppam, enter key to select.
And once the My Books page loads, it's really nice because the app puts the focus on the very first book that you have in reverse date order. So if I wanted to open this book, I could just navigate to the book that I want to. So let's say I wanted to read The Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow. I can navigate there by pressing F3 or use first letter navigation.
Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow, Jerome K. Jerome, Eppam, enter key to select.
So I simply press the letter I because that's the letter of the book. Now I could go ahead and press enter.
Idle Thought loading, idle, button side menu, enter key to select.
Now, when I open up a book, as I mentioned, this application is for a whole host of different purposes. What I have found is that Dolphin Easy Reader is really great for listening to books in audio. There are a few controls in here, and I'm not going to go over all of them because we are coming up on a time limit, but I'll go over them really quickly.
Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow. Button search, enter key to select.
So pressing F3 is going to take me along the menu items. So I have a search option, and from within here, I can search for different words or phrases. If I press F3 again,
button bookmark, enter key to select.
I can create bookmarks and actually navigate to bookmarks. If I press F3 one more time,
button text settings, enter key to select.
This gives me my text settings, including font size, margins, and a bunch of other information regarding the visual display of the text. F3 one more time.
Button audio settings, enter key to select.
And here, obviously, I can choose the different audio settings. Let's go ahead and explore that a little bit more. I'm going to press enter.
Voice.
Obviously, people have preferences when it comes to voices. And one of the great things is that Dolphin Easy Reader allows you to change your voice settings and add voices. I can press F3 to navigate down to the voice settings.
English, United States, enter key to select. Button voice settings, press the enter key to run.
I'm going to press enter.
Button navigate up, enter key to select.
Now from in here, I could adjust rate, pitch, volume, pause, all of these different things. It's really great because if you know what to expect within here, you can still use first letter navigation. So let's say I wanted to adjust pitch. I could simply press the letter P.
Pitch.
Takes me straight to pitch. If I press F3 one more time.
Slider, enter or modify the text.
It takes me to the slider where I can adjust the pitch. I've got everything where I want it. I'm going to press space with the letter E to go back.
Voice.
The other option I could choose is to add a voice. I'll press F3 until I get to that option.
English, United States, enter key. Button voice settings, press the enter key. Button add voices, press the enter key to run.
And I'm going to press enter.
Add button navigate up, enter key to select.
Now, when this page loads, it's reaching out to the server right now to check for possible voices. Give it just a second. All right. And I can press F3 to navigate through these different options.
Add voices. Button preview voices, enter key to select. American English, enter key to select.
All right.
Allison, 37 megabytes. Nuance vocalizer embedded, enter key to select.
All right. And if I press F3 one more time, it should give me the price of the voice.
Buy, 8.99, enter key to select.
There you go. If you already have these voices installed on your device, I believe that you should have the option to just add them here. I'm going to press space E to get out of this option.
Idle voice.
I'm going to press space E again to close this dialog box. And now I'm back into my book. If I press F3 one more time, I should get to the More Options button.
Button More Options, enter key to select.
Pressing enter here.
List sleep timer, enter key to select.
So sleep timer is exactly what it sounds. There's a Where Am I option that'll give you a reading position.
List Where Am I, enter key to select.
And pressing F3 one more time takes me to book information, and that includes the author, the title and some additional information. I'll close this by pressing F4.
Button more options, enter key to select.
Now I'm going to press F3.
On cats and dogs, enter key to select.
And it takes me into the text. If I press F3 again.
What I've suffered from them this morning, no tongue can tell. It began with Gustavus Adolphus, Gustavus Adolphus.
It's going to move to the next section of text. Pressing F3 again.
At dinner time, he creeps in under the table, lies there for a while.
It takes me to the additional text section. So what I actually want to do is I want to get to the play pause button. And because this uses first letter navigation, if I press the letter P,
poor rats. They seem only to exist so the cat.
It took me to the section of text that starts with the letter P. Now that's not exactly what I want. So in order to get to the play pause button, I can do one of two things. I'm going to jump to the top by pressing space and dots 1, 2, 3.
Button side menu, enter key to select.
And if I remember correctly, pressing the letter P from inside the menu section.
Poor rats. Button play pause, enter key to select.
Pressing it twice took me to play pause. Additionally, the more consistent way is jumping to bottom with space and dots 4, 5, 6.
Button navigation settings, enter key to select.
And then pressing the letter P to get to play pause.
Poor rats. They seem only. Button play pause, enter key to select.
All right. I'm going to turn off my speech real quickly and demonstrate how it sounds to you coming from the application.
Voice off.
What I've suffered from them this morning, no tongue can tell. It began with Gustavus Adolphus. Gustavus Adolphus, they call him, Gusty downstairs for short, is a very good sort of dog when he is in the middle of a large field.
All right. I pressed enter again on play pause to pause it. And for those of you that are sighted, you'll notice that the words are being highlighted as they're being spoken. And then at the end of each sentence, there's a slight pause. That's one of the things that you're going to be able to adjust as well. I'm going to turn my voice back on.
Voice on.
And I'm going to press space with E to get out of here.
Mike, button side, idle thoughts of an idle fellow. Jerome K. Jerome. Epim, enter key.
A couple other things that I would like to point out. I'm going to jump to the top and then
My books, enter key to select.
F3 twice.
Button side menu, button import a book, enter key to select.
And there's an option to import a book. This is going to allow you to import, I believe, EPUB books from an SD card. So if you do have EPUB books and you wanted to upload them to this app to listen to them, you can do that. Although I recommend that you actually use the Polaris EPUB reader. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it over back to Jenny.
Okay, just one moment. I am actually going to share my screen again, and we will demonstrate Voicedream. It's another similar app, and I'll point out a few differences, so just a minute.
Voice off.
Okay. Okay, and we should be in my main menu now. Yes?
Looking good.
Okay. So again, I'm going to press enter on all apps. Oh, I need to turn on my voice.
Voice on. 11,000 quotes. Thanks status.
I try to, be respectful, and then I forget to not disturb everyone, and then I forget to turn everything back on. I apologize for that. Okay, so I'm going to go to Voicedream Reader, which is actually under Reader. So I'm just going to press the letter R. Reader. And I'll press enter.
Image Voicedream Reader.
Okay, and now Voicedream Reader is open. It has many of the same options as the Dolphin Easy readers. So there are some differences, and especially when it comes to cost, for example. So Dolphin Easy Reader is free, but if you noticed, the voices are something like $8.99. Voicedream Reader costs, I believe it's $13.99 at the outset, but when you add additional voices, they're only about $3.99, $2.99 or $3.99 each. It does have, again, many of the same options. For those of you who like Voicedream Reader with the iPhone, I basically wanted to let you know that it is available for Android and works on the Polaris and how you use that, because it's very gesture-based. However, it is possible to do pretty much everything here. So I do have a search option.
Pride and Prejudice, 5:39.
that would search my library. If I press F3, I get the only book that's currently listed. It comes with Pride and Prejudice. That's a free book. So the first thing we'll do is actually play a book, then we'll go through the other options. But let me just go through this
Button
dialog.
document, enter key to select.
I can add document. This again is the same way that it is on the iPhone. It will give you several options from whence to add.
Add document. Button all items, 1 enter key to select.
And again, we're just going through
Button
the
bookshelf
library.
view, enter key to select.
Bookshelf view, it's telling
Button
me.
sort, enter key to select.
Sort.
Button more options, enter key to select. Button search, enter key to select. Pride and Prejudice, 5, 39, 24. Jane Austen, enter key to select.
Okay, so this is your main dialogue, and it does usually open in your bookshelf view. So I'm going to press enter on Pride and Prejudice.
Reader, button navigate up, enter key to select.
Okay, so as with Dolphin Easy Reader, you can
Pride and Prejudice. Button visual settings, enter key to select.
set visual settings.
Button audio setting, enter key to select.
Audio settings, which again are going to be very similar to what he just showed. They're going to, you'll be able to set the speech rate, the decrement, various things with your voice. You can also add voices here just as you can with Dolphin Easy Reader.
Button bookmark, enter key to select.
There's bookmark.
Button more options, enter key to
More
select.
options.
I see no occasion.
Okay, so now I'm in the text. And again, this actually
My
does
name, you.
show up in Braille, so you could actually turn speech off and read in Braille with this application. So some of them don't allow that. I think Go Read, I'm not sure if I remember right, doesn't work with Braille, but with Voicedream you can actually read. The Braille does show up, so it's possible to read with either Braille or speech. I'm actually going to press first letter nav
Button play, enter key to
to
select.
get to play. And again, you have different options with different voices. I'm using an Australian voice in Voicedream. I could have used British. It would make sense for Pride and Prejudice, but this is close enough.
I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which perhaps will be still better, for as you are as handsome as any of them, Mr. Bingley may like you the best of the party. My dear, you flatter me. I certainly have had my share of beauty, but I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her own beauty. In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty to think. In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty
Button
to think
next
of.
item, press the
But,
enter
my
key
dear,
to
you must
Any
be grow and
enter
Mr.
key to
Bingley
select.
comes with
Hang on, I'm trying to stop. Okay, there we go. And yes, I know it's speaking really fast. Is that what you were going to tell me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You don't have to actually understand the text. You just have to hear that it's playing. So no, anyway, for some reason it was not, usually you can just press enter to play and pause. Once you're focused on it, you will be able to, it's very easy to do that. You can also, again, use first letter nav. But yes, I do tend to read very quickly so I can get through it. Okay, so that's how you play a book. Let's pop over to the ad. So first of all, I'm going to press F4 to get back to my bookshelf view.
Reader, button all items, 1 enter key to select.
And now I'm going to press A for add document.
Button add document, enter key to select.
And I'm going to press enter.
Choose file. List choose file, enter key to select.
So I have a couple of options here. I can choose to open a file in Voicedream. And the reason that I may want to do that, my particular use case might be because you can choose multiple languages and it's a little bit easier actually to do it in the Reader app than it is on the Polaris. And one reason is that, like, for example, to read a Korean document, I would have to use a Korean voice, which means I would also get all of my TTS, all of my menus and everything would be spoken in the Korean voice. So for me, it's really convenient to actually, because I do have a Korean voice in Voicedream, to actually open the document in Voicedream and then everything else remains in English and I can still read the Korean document on the Polaris very easily. So that's my use case, but there can be several reasons why you might want to open a file in Voicedream.
List web browser, enter key to select.
You can also open a website.
List Bookshare, enter key to select.
And you can search Bookshare. So I'll press enter here just quickly.
Button navigate up, enter key to select. Categories. Button search, enter key. Button title, press the enter key. Button author, press the button ISBN, press the button full text, press the enter key to run.
So these are the different ways that I can search. And when I press one of these, then the search edit box will actually search that category.
Popular, enter key to select.
And I can search popular books.
Latest, enter key to select.
Or latest, so I can just automatically load those. Again, I can search by category, all the various ways that you would normally be used to searching Bookshare. And in some ways, I like this a little bit better than Go Read. It looks a little bit more traditionally Bookshare API-ish, so I do prefer this a little bit. Okay.
Reader, button add document, enter key to select.
So because Thomas actually demoed very detailed what goes on with Dolphin, I'm not really sure that I want to do that much detail. It's very much a lot of the same thing. It's more just what you prefer in terms of interface. I do use Voicedream on my iPhone a lot, so I like this because it's familiar to me. I know what I'm looking at and I know the controls, but it really just depends. And what we wanted to do here today was to show you that there are many options and many different options. So for example, Bard is all audio, okay? Audible, again, is all audio. Kindle, you can read with speech or Braille. With Voicedream, it's also possible to read with speech or Braille. Go Read, we like to search with it, but then possibly read in our Daisy player. That's the other option because people like the navigation in the Daisy player. So if you're able to locate anything from Voicedream or Dolphin, which we're still looking to try and figure out where they save those, but they're usually hidden in the Android data files. You can usually find them. So we, as Mike demonstrated, Go Read saves everything in the books folder. So there are a lot of different ways, whether you want to read with speech, with human narration, with Braille, with any combination of these things. There are many ways to get books, to find books, to navigate books. So it's really just a matter of your preference and what works for you. I will say that if you're dealing with books for education, I recommend something that uses Bookshare. Go Read might be the simplest option for the reason that it is easy to find the books once they're downloaded. You can actually locate them in the books folder and you can read them in our Daisy player, so you can read them silently in class with Braille. Now, you might want to use something like Voicedream or Dolphin if you have someone who is low vision and can see a little bit. You can connect to HDMI and have the highlights and stuff like that, in addition to having the Braille and the speech. So I think it really depends on the use case, whether that is for education or your personal use. And I am, of course, rambling as I always do. There's always so many things to say, but I think that it might be better to find out what it is that you need to know. So Thomas, do we have questions?
Yes, we do. All right. So that concludes our presentation, and we are getting into the Q&A session. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you.
Thomas?
Yes, go ahead.
While people are raising their hands, I just want to quickly say that today's been a very good webinar. We have reached the pot of gold at the end of our reading rainbow, and now we're going to answer questions. But I do want to quickly say this coming Wednesday at 4 o'clock, our normal webinar time, we're going to be doing a webinar. All of us are going to be here, as well as tech support, to answer any questions that anybody has about anything HIMSS related. So for today, simply because we've all been presenting for a long time, let's strictly hold our questions to reading books, that kind of thing. Let's keep it to reading. If you have other questions about other things, be sure to join us on Wednesday of next week. And if you want to learn, join us next Wednesday for just simply questions and answers about anything.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right. First up is Liel Ben Simon, a brand new
Polaris owner.
Polaris owner. Liel, go ahead and ask your question. Oh. Liel, go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Do you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. For the first question, you answered me, Jenny, because I like to read book in Braille. But the second question about the Audible app, when I go to the download book, I don't know which book I'm downloading. It's not accessible, nothing.
Do you want me to answer that?
Go for it.
Because I've seen this problem. So yes, I have seen this as well from the home screen. But if you go to the navigation, so on your home screen, it lists the last couple of books you bought, and you're quite right. There's a number of download buttons, and it's not clear which one is which one is relevant to which title. But if you go to your library, they're all linked one beside the other, and there's a download button beside each one. So go to the library tab and not the home tab.
Okay, and the second question about the Go Read. I have been trouble to sync my library. I'm getting a notification.
Oh, an error. Yeah. I have seen that also. You may have to search for it and download it again. I just started seeing that. When you open it, it says error syncing. The app still works just fine, but except for the synchronization. I'm not really sure what's going on. We will, again, I'm very sorry. Almost everyone's been out of the office this week. So while we have seen these problems, we were not able to address them. So we will address that next week as well. I may have to actually contact Bookshare themselves and find out what's going on with that. It may be an issue there. I don't know if it's us or them. So I think we'll be able to deal with that. But.
And they Go Read existing for iOS or not?
For iOS, they use a different application.
iOS is called Read to Go.
That's it. I knew it was close. Yep. So yeah, Bookshare does have that. Of course, like I said, you could use Voicedream or Easy Reader. All these other things are available for iOS as well. So either way, I do love Voicedream for iOS. That's how I first started using it.
I love it. Thank you.
And one thing I forgot to mention, actually, that's not related to his question, but it reminded me of it because he is from Israel. So we've been really focusing on Americans because this is hosted by the American office. But in our main menu, there is an option. Am I still sharing my screen? I am, right?
File Manager, F.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work out well. Okay, so in our extras
Excel
menu,
Viewer, X, and Line Daisy, O.
There is an online DAISY option, and this is going to be the case in almost every firmware. What you get is going to differ a little bit. I'm going to press enter here.
CNIB Library Combo Box.
So we have two servers.
Vision Australia Library Combo Box.
CNIB and Vision Australia, because those are the countries we serve, Canada and Australia. But if you're in Japan, you would get the Sapie library. If you were in Denmark, you would get NODA. It will differ by countries. So if you do have a DAISY online service, you will have that available in our app. And if you don't, contact us and we can deal with that. It's actually very easy. All we have to do is get the server information from the library and also check out the various options because they do differ by library, but we can generally deal with that. So if for some reason there's a library in your country that we are not supporting and they support the DoD protocol, we can actually add that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Dolphin Easy Reader does actually support many, many, many libraries. So like Voicedream and Go Read, they do only support Bookshare, and Voicedream supports other sources. But again, we're American, so that's what we're showing here. But there are other options and other possibilities for dealing with this, and we can actually support that. All right, sorry.
Very good.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you for the questions, Leo, and congratulations on your new Polaris. All right, up next we have Kathleen. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Is Google Play Books accessible with the Polaris?
We actually did show that a little bit, and I kind of explained that already in the demo. It's sort of accessible, but I prefer Kindle.
All right, thank you very much, Kathleen. Up next, phone number ending in 2689. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, hi. I'm very interested in the Kindle books, and you know, I'm going to sound sort of dumb here because I've never used that app. Now, do I need to actually then put a Kindle app on the Polaris, or just install, you know, like some type of an Amazon app itself to get the the books? I guess I have to, I don't know. I don't have to subscribe to Kindle. I guess I just pay for the books as I get them, correct?
Yes, you do have to download an app. You do have to download the Amazon Kindle app, and it's actually great that you asked that, because something else that I need to point out is that you can't get it from the Play Store because it thinks it needs a screen. This is actually not OS related. It thinks it needs a screen, and of course we are identified as not having one, but as you saw, it's perfectly accessible and there's no problem. However, Amazon freely makes it available. So if you actually just Google search Amazon Kindle APK, which is the name of Android packages, you will find several options. I would suggest either getting it from Amazon directly or from a site called APK Pure in your Google search results. If you get it from either of those places, you can, it should be very reliable. These are obviously Amazon's a reputable source, so you can get it directly from there. You will need instructions about how to install APKs. I would suggest contacting tech support. They have written instructions. They can email them to you. Because that's a different thing. But once you've installed it, you will need to sign into Amazon so that your purchases are automatically connected to your Amazon account. You don't have to enter all your credit card information and all that. They do have a Kindle Unlimited subscription that will give you a lot of free books monthly. It depends on what you're interested in. That actually works really well for me because, again, I like a lot of historical fiction. They also put older titles in there. So if there are books that you have wanted to read, recently I saw The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, which was, of course, it's become really popular because of the Hulu series, but it was actually published, I don't even know how long ago, like 30 years ago. So, or 25, I think it's 25. But anyway, they do actually put older things in there in the Kindle Unlimited. So you'll just have to see if that's, I think you can try it, do a free trial first before you try that. So yes, you can pay for books individually, or you can do a subscription-based thing. It just all depends on what works for you.
Well, I'm glad you told me about the app, because I would have been looking for it until, the cows came home. So I'm glad you explained that part of it to me. I appreciate that. And okay, well, that'll be helpful. I'll definitely have to check that out. And you still have to do, when you're reading them in Braille, you still have to do that refresh thing per page, like you talked about, or is that just for the audio?
No, it's actually in Braille too, and I think you actually physically have to do it. I'm not sure if the iPhone works continuously, but I know some of the other Kindle tablets you still have to.
I do know at one point the iPhone was having an issue with it as well.
It was the same thing. You had to physically turn it. And exactly. I think you still, I'm not sure if they fixed that or not. I want to think I heard that they may have. So I'm not entirely sure about the iPhone, but I do know on other mainstream devices, you do physically have to turn pages too. In fact, the Kindle, the Oasis, I think has physical page turn buttons. So they actually, I guess because you're not really scrolling the way that you're actually reading content, you would see when you're done, you would actually flip the page. So I think that's why that works, but it's the same way even in mainstream.
Okay. And are you going to be sending out something for us to sign up for next Wednesday's thing also, like you have for these other ones, or?
Yep. That email will go out either later today or early on Monday.
Okay, and will there be another one next Friday also, or not?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, there will.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That will be the one on syncing contacts and calendar.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Shirley.
Thanks. Talk to you soon, Mike.
All right. Up next, we have Marcia. Marcia, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Oh, Marcia, I see you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me yet?
Yep, there you are.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Marcia.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I wanted to let you know about Read to Go on the iPhone. It is A, out of date, B, no longer being supported by Bookshare, although they still have it there so that people who do have it can use it, but it is no longer being developed. And so any thing you might want to do, you might want to put a lot of your books in Voicedream Reader as an alternative source. And as for
personally
the
love Voicedream Reader anyway. I mean, I'm not always a big fan of touchscreens, but I got to tell you, that is one of the most intuitive apps I've ever used. So if you are concerned about the cost, it's well worth it if you read a lot of Bookshare books.
Well, I have a Voicedream Reader.
Oh yeah, no, I was going to ask you, do you agree? Do you think so?
Oh yes, oh yes. Now I have Voicedream Reader, and I am wondering how I can add the books that I have also from Read to Go and add those on Voicedream as well.
I think you'll have to ask Bookshare about that, but I know that they were intending, even with Read to Go, to be able to sync across libraries. That's what they were talking about. The Go Read app right now isn't syncing. So I'm gonna have to contact them about that, but probably ask them about, I don't know, because I haven't used Read to Go in many years in favor of Voicedream. So, but I would think it's supposed to be syncing at this point. So you might ask them about that.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of anybody, and of course everybody's crapped out from here to hell and back because of COVID. And as far as the turning pages in Braille with Kindle, once you turn off your speech, you can do chord R as in continuous read, and it'll read.
With the Braille display?
Yes.
Is it auto-scrolling, or just it allows you to not have to turn pages?
It allows you really not to have to turn the pages, and I do believe it does auto-scroll as well.
Okay, so if you are if you do chord R, it will auto-scroll. So if you like that, that works. I actually never auto-scroll, but
I don't either. I don't either. Hell, I don't either. I just when I'm doing my Focus 40 Blue or something like that, I just sit there and hit the rocker
and
bar
scroll.
to go down. You know?
I like control too much, but
I mean, I'm a Braille display junkie. Hell,
But no, many people do like the auto scroll. That's why I asked. And you can, of course, do all that with Polaris. It will connect with your iPhone as a Braille display too, since we are talking about Polaris in this webinar. So, yep, you can. So that's also an option. And see, that's the other thing. Again, just because something you may again want to purchase through the Polaris, but you might choose to read it with your iPhone, and you can still read in Braille with your Polaris if you choose to. So this is something we want to point out. We don't care how you use it. There are so many different ways that you can choose to do things and use it in combination, and that's part of what we want to point out here. So anyway, thanks for
Marcia.
You're welcome.
All right. Marcia, I did not mean to add you as a panelist. Gonna have to boot you back to attendee. Sorry.
You were going to give Marcia some control too, I see.
Oh, she would delete everything, I'm sure.
You share the love, right? More female control.
That's all right. Talk about control. Give her ultimate. All right. So, Susie.
As we move along.
All right. Let's get to some of the Q&A here. Let's see if I can avoid messing this up. Susie writes, is Bookshare only available in the US of A, or is it now accessible to potential users in Europe and UK?
I can answer that one if you want, Thomas.
Oh, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, it is available in the UK. RNIB have it in the UK, Susie. So it's rnibbookshare.org.uk. And in Ireland, it's the National Council for the Blind is bookshare.ie. And it's in pretty much all the European countries now, generally run by either the Libraries for the Blind or the national blindness organizations run the license in their in their countries, in their respective countries. But yeah, you
Last
will
time
get
I
it in the
checked,
UK.
there were like 60 partner countries at
There's
least,
loads.
and yeah, so there's a lot. You might check into it. I think Australia has it also. Not sure how popular it is there. I'm very sure that it is available in the Middle East in several countries over there, and there are even for a while they were really working on Arabic selections. So it's really interesting. You can actually find a lot of books in other languages now. They're starting to do that. So if you choose another language as your primary language, I believe you can still get English. Germany is another one that uses it a lot. So yeah, if you're not sure, definitely check with your blindness organizations and see if they support it, because they are really trying to offer a lot of content all over the world and in different languages.
Yeah, and just one thing for the UK market, it is primarily used for educational institutions to sign up for their students. So in normal circumstances, you wouldn't be able to sign up as an end user to the Bookshare platform. But at the moment, because of the COVID-19 and people not being able to access college, they're allowing people to sign up as an end user. So if you contact RNIB, they'll be able to help you.
Awesome, wonderful. All right, next, Rebecca writes, hi, I will hopefully be getting a Polaris soon. Would I be able to get a list of all the accessible apps? Thanks, you guys are the best. You know what, Rebecca, you're the best for getting a Polaris. We do have a list of apps that we have tested accessibility on. It is on our website.
I'll need to update that.
Yes, and that will need to be updated. Hey, Jenny, what do you think? Should we include a list when we post this webinar? Include it in the webinar section for download?
Yeah, it's not totally related to reading. I guess it's up to you, but the tech support should also have it. I really do need to update that. But it is still mostly correct. There are a couple things, like I know Wells Fargo's on the list and it's no longer supported. So there are a couple things that I do need to fix, and there are things that I need to add because we now have some gesture-based things like double tap that we didn't have when I first made the list. But it's funny because you said a list of all of the accessible apps. That is entirely impossible. But we can definitely help you get started. And it is frustrating. And this is, since you asked the question, I will go ahead and say something. So one of the apps that I got that I absolutely just love that has been so useful to me is called REC period. And it is a screen recording app. And what this is for, it allows me, I can make actually a video tutorial or demo of something. And it does, we do have an internal screen recording function for troubleshooting, but this is, the audio is a lot better on it. But what I wanted, the reason I'm mentioning this is that I had to try, I believe it was 9 applications before I found one that would work. And it's the same in Windows. Almost all of them are completely, entirely inaccessible. But here's the deal. That 10th one is golden. It is entirely accessible. I was thrilled to be able to do something that was actually visual and independent of anyone else, needing any help. So I was just super excited about this. So what I want to tell you is that when you get your Polaris, if you try different applications and you find that you're having trouble, don't give up on it. Try different types and test it. You might ask for our recommendations, see if we know any. And yes, the accessible apps list will help you get started, and at least you'll know that, hey, there are a lot of apps that work.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Sidra writes, can I download Brf files from GoRead?
No, I don't believe they're supported in
That is
GoRead.
correct. No, it's only Daisy.
All right, that was an easy one.
But you can go to the website and
You go to the website, yes.
And can I choose different voices to read my book from the Daisy player? I've been trying to download Eloquence, which is the TTS voice I want, but cannot find it.
Oh, what did we figure out about that? Because it used to
Eloquence
be available.
Is gone.
Yeah, did anyone ever contact Code Factory about it?
No, it just disappeared one day.
I think it's gone because they've switched to 64-bit apps in the Play Store, isn't it? And Code Factory decided not to make Eloquence a 64-bit app. So if you've bought it already, obviously previously, then you can still get it, but it's not available anymore.
Yeah, and see, I do have it. I had bought it a while ago. Unfortunately, if that's true, there's not a whole lot we can do about it.
Nope.
Sorry about that.
So Ashley writes, hi, so I use these apps mainly using my iPhone with Braille Sense Polaris as a Braille display. What are the main differences in interface between using these apps through strictly the Polaris?
The biggest one is first letter navigation, but it's a really big one. So we did a lot of tabbing through just because we wanted to show you what was available in the application. But once you know the application, it's so nice to be able to use first letter nav, for example, in your Bookshare or your bookshelf view of Voicedream, or to find the play button, you just press, the letter P and enter. And this again will work for Bard Mobile, for Go Read, for Voicedream, for everything. The other advantage is if you use something like Go Read, you can read books in our Daisy Player. If you are a Braille reader or you need to use a lot of navigation, like for a textbook, it's much, much easier to deal with it using the media buttons in the Daisy Player. That's the other advantage, is that even if you use these applications to download, if they're locally stored, if the books are locally stored, you can actually find them and read them with our Daisy Player. So I think those would be the two main two main advantages. It's just too early in the morning. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
I would totally agree. I think that, with the iPhone, it's great for, but if you have to navigate, flick up or flick left, flick right a lot to find buttons. And it's much faster, as Jenny said, to just do first letter navigation. And a major time saver.
Excellent. All right, Sidra, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was the one who asked about the Eloquence. I actually already bought Eloquence long time ago, but I don't know how to redeem my thing so then I can access Eloquence, because I already bought it, but I don't know how to re-download it.
If you are not, there's a couple ways. Are you signing in with the same Google account or a different one? Because you do need to make sure that you're signing in with the same Google account that you used to purchase it.
It's the same one.
Okay, so then go to open navigation drawer. Hang on a minute, we'll just do it. Wait a minute.
Play Store. Play Store. List free, enter key to select.
Okay, I'm going to press the letter S.
Button show navigation drawer, enter key to select.
And I'll press enter.
Navigation. List Google Play. List My Apps Games, enter key to select.
This is where you want to go, My Apps and Games.
Yep.
And hang on, I'm pressing enter.
Play Store. Button navigate up, enter my list installed, enter key to select. List library, enter key to select.
And library, here's where you want to go.
Okay.
List library, enter key to select. Not on this device, jaxler1gmail.com.
Okay, and that you want to make sure that that's what it's showing, is not on this device. And it should show you all the other applications that you have purchased that you do not have installed right now. And you should be able to find it in there.
So I go to library and then I'll find my apps?
Yep. Yep, and make sure it's selected to show not on this device.
Not on this, I have to select that?
Enter key to select.
Yeah, so there are different things. There are recent.
App, personal safety, not installed, see more option, but recent, enter, not on this device, list library, enter key to select.
Yeah, so there's not on this device and there's recent. So make sure that you choose not on this device.
Okay, and also I had one more question. Sometimes when I'm searching a book in Go Read, I'm trying to search, but like on the U2, it used to have like, you can go to the next page and it'll display the next series of books, and like my search ends really quickly once I search a book.
Yeah, that's recent, actually. So this is another thing that I'm gonna have to figure out. I don't think that's a Polaris thing. I think that's a Go Read thing. And actually it might be a Bookshare thing, because I was thinking that even in our app that it is only showing me like the first 100 results. So I'm not sure what's going on. It seems that they have also done some modifications, but that's gonna be part of their application. That's actually not us.
Okay.
But yeah, it used to do that, and was Voicedream doing that too? I want to think that I saw a couple different apps that were doing that. So I think it's something on the Bookshare side that they're not showing as many results. It was Voicedream, and I believe it was on my iPhone. So I don't think it makes any difference. Again, it's not Polaris. That's a Bookshare thing. So we'll have to, hopefully they'll be fixing that soon.
Yeah, because when I already scroll, it always goes up back top.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're talking about. I've seen that just in the last week, actually, I started to see it. So I think that they have done some updates also. Sorry, I have to remember to get closer to my microphone. Yeah, I don't think, again, that there's anything we can do. I'm very sure that's a Bookshare problem and something in their retrieval in their API.
Okay. And also my last question was from GoRead, can you also download BRF files or is it just Daisy?
It's only
Just Daisy.
Oh, okay. How can I download BRF files?
You can do that on our web browser. If you go to bookshare.org and log into your account, you're able to do that. And then you can just read them on Polaris. So.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Next question. Will you have to authorize Bard before you can use it on the Polaris? And if so, how do you do that?
Actually, you can't.
Correct.
So you do have to use the Bard mobile app, and you log in with your username and password, and that automatically authorizes the application, but you don't authorize the device anymore because you use the Android app. They've sort of done away with that, and that's part of the reason that you use the Android app.
Great. Jeanette asks, how do you know when to go to the next page when you are continuously reading in Braille and Kindle?
It'll stop. Trust me, you'll know. It will either stop reading with speech or you'll reach the end of the content. So you'll definitely know.
All right. Caroline writes, just a clarification with VDR, if you start reading on one device, that content doesn't sync across devices, correct?
No, it doesn't. Not the way that Kindle, excuse me, Kindle and some other applications do. So yeah, if you're reading and you exit a book at a certain section, it doesn't actually sync. You are right.
All right. The next question is, how do I download the Amazon app onto my Polaris?
Oh, we actually just talked about that with Marcia. They probably already have.
So you'd have to go find the APK and install it that way, correct?
Yes. And again, tech support does have written instructions, and it is better to get the written instructions because there are a couple things that you need to do. Once you've done them, it's very easy. You just install them from the file manager, but there's a couple of things you have to set in Android first. So please do contact them if you're not sure how to set the security settings, etc. They'll send you an email that explains all that.
All right. And Caroline writes, the library here in Canada isn't called the CNIB library anymore. Is there someone I could notify of this to maybe get it updated to the correct name? So Jenny would probably be the person to notify, right?
Yeah, I think I knew that. No one's just complained about it at all, but I believe it'll still access the server. I know it's called something else.
So Caroline, if you're still here, it has been duly noted. John writes, I'm a bit confused. Does HIMSS have a list of apps that we need to utilize the APK Pure method?
No, we don't really. Basically, if you can't find it in the Play Store, or if it says it's not compatible, it's just something that you can try. There are several reasons why you might not be able to deal with it. One is, again, because our device is not identified as having a touchscreen. Unfortunately, that is a Google arbitrary thing that they decide on, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with whether the app is really accessible. And Kindle is a very good example. Apple Music is another, that it's not related to the OS at all. And they work perfectly, both of them. So it's basically, no, there really isn't a list. Some of them are because, like, for example, Bard has now updated their app and Google will not allow them to post a version that supports Lollipop. However, again, you can get it from APK Pure and it works fine, as Earl was explaining. But no, we don't exactly have a list. It's just going to be one of those situations that if you can't find it or can't download it on the Play Store, then check APK Pure and see if you can get a version there.
Great, thank you. All right, we have a phone caller with their hand up, ending in 2704. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hi. Hi, this is Nancy. Hi, Mike and Jenny, everybody. Nancy, I'm from California. I have a question now. Can you, I know I have EPUB on a competitive device. I'm thinking of getting a Polaris. Can you download the NFB Newsline and read the BRF or the audio files with the EPUB on the Polaris? I think you probably could, right?
I would assume you can, but honestly, I haven't tried it. Has anyone tried it?
I've not tried it, Nancy, but I believe it you know, they're just standard files, and so it certainly should work.
Sure, if they're just straight up BRF files, you can definitely download and access it.
Is that audio and BRF or just audio on the thing?
So I haven't tried I've got it on my iPhone. I have not tried it on the Polaris, but if you know that it downloads as a standard MP3 file format, or if you know the file format, then it should be accessible. I'm not familiar with what the file formats are.
Ah, interesting. Okay, thank you.
If you were talking about BRF files specifically, one of the great things about the Polaris is that it does work with Braille and speech output. So if it is a BRF file, then both of those will be supported.
I think though, do you access those within the NFB Newsline app, or?
Me?
Yeah, do you access them through the NFB Newsline app? I'm so
No, well,
sorry, none of us.
Either way, I guess. I just use NFB Newsline. I don't have an app. I use the Braille Touch Plus now, but I'm going to get it back up to play.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, you shouldn't have any problem. If you're just using the website, no, that shouldn't be any problem at all.
Okay,
I do believe there's an app also. But none of us have tried that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in and joining us on this webinar.
Good to see you, Nancy.
Thank you, Mike. Same to you.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Up next, we have phone number ending in 8414. Go ahead and ask your question.
This is Lena.
There you go. You're good.
Sorry, this is Lena. And a couple people asked about downloading BRF files from the Go Read app. And I just want to make sure people are remembering that when we download a Daisy book to the Polaris, one of the beautiful things is we can go to the XML file and Notepad will read it beautifully in Braille.
That is a very good point.
Good point.
You are absolutely right.
You're right. Absolutely.
And may I please make a suggestion? I think it was Marcia who was at, you know, the app, now that things aren't syncing, but we just still want our books, and Voicedream will let us get all of the books that we've downloaded from Bookshare if we go to the
history.
My history or download history.
Yeah.
So we don't have to be deprived, just aggravate.
I think though it only shows what you downloaded in the last 30 days.
You can go to the website and change that. I just had to,
okay, I gotcha.
I know.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Very good to know.
I've had to, yes. And sometimes we can make Voicedream give us more results if we use the page up gesture in iOS. It's not consistent, but it's worked sometimes this week.
Interesting. Yeah, you used to not have to though. It used to just keep scrolling.
That's right, but something happened this week. I don't know.
Yeah, it has, and I've noticed exactly that it has been this week that all of the apps have just changed. So something's Bookshare and Bard have both apparently done many recent updates. So
Maybe they
now we get to play catch up.
and said, let's change. Let's confuse everybody. Lena, good to see you. Glad you're enjoying that new Polaris you just got.
Yeah, because I can read as much Braille as I have time for now.
That's right.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Lena.
All right. Up next, we have Londa. Londa, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
There you are.
No, I just wanted to make a comment. Somebody asked about NFB Newsline. Easy Reader will do NFB Newsline.
There you go. Great.
Beautiful. Thank you, Londa.
You're welcome.
All right. And then up next, we have phone number ending in 6874. Go ahead and ask your way.
Hi, I'm Catherine from Colorado. Thank you so much for doing these webinars. They're great. I wanted to know, will there be a tutorial or a way that we can ask questions if we are wanting to use Kindle and Audible and the Guggenheim books and others, and we need a little bit more help? Thank you.
We haven't specifically done any tutorials. It's not out of the question. It's definitely something that we can consider, making some kind of instructional video that goes into more detail with the various services if we think we need to do that. Of course, you can always call tech support. They should be able to answer your questions. If not, they'll probably ask me and I'll be able to. But either way, you should be able to get answers from us. If you do have some trouble, definitely call tech support and ask them. And if they don't know the answer and they say, oh, I don't use that, just tell them to ask Jenny.
Okay. Thank you so much for the webinars. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We enjoy doing them.
Thank you very much. We have one more Q&A question. If you do have a question, go ahead and type it in the Q&A section or raise your hand. This is the last one I have currently. It says the iOS Kindle app uses two-finger slide down to continuous read. I guess that was more of a comment, not a question.
Yes, it does. It does. We were talking about reading in Braille. I'm sorry, and I did not specify that when I talked about it. I do apologize. But yeah, that's right. And I do know that because I use it all the time. So yes, it will do that with speech. But I couldn't remember for sure with Braille, and I apologize for not making that clear. You are absolutely correct.
Yes. Thank you very much for that information. All right, so that concludes our Q&A session. I want to thank everybody for joining us.
Oh, Thomas, just one more thing. We had mentioned the Reading Rainbow and Levar Burton earlier. Kelly wanted everybody to know that there is a podcast called Levar Burton Reads. How often does he read?
It's once a week, and he reads short stories for adults. They're not like adults, but they're adults. So
Yeah.
they're like something that you might find interesting.
We love Levar Burton and Geordie LaFord.
Where do you find that at?
Your any podcast catcher. Just
What did you say it's called? Levar Burton Reads?
Levar Burton Reads.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. There is actually, I found there's an app, I think for classroom use. There is a Reading Rainbow app. I didn't see it on Polaris. I'm not sure if it's because it's too new or it's only available for education. I didn't look that hard for it, but I did see somewhere where they did actually start an app, and it's got like little videos and stuff to go with it. You get to take little field trips related to the stories and stuff, and that is for kids and stuff. But yeah, it's supposed to be for education. So it hasn't totally died.
Again, everybody tell your family, friends about next Wednesday. Like to see as many of you as we can. That's just kind of the time you ask us anything hymns related. So tell your friends, tell your families. Let's have a picnic or whatever.
All right. Well, that concludes this webinar. Everybody, thank you for joining, and check out hymns-inc.com/webinars for the recording of this and other webinars.
Navigate up, enter key to select.
We should have an email going out very shortly regarding webinars that are coming up next week as well. So once again, thank you for joining us, and have a great weekend.